Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Taurus for divine counterparts taking place on May 19th, 2023 at 11:53 a.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Really excited to share this with you. As the first feminine new moon of the lunar new year, this is what I call the divine feminine's new moon. And for the full picture and scope of how this new moon's energy and frequency is impacting the collective, so you can understand why I've interpreted it the way I have, I recommend you have a look at the Lightworker Energy Update first. It's the energy update that's posted right alongside this new moon video. It just says new moon in Taurus. And then come back and watch this. In that video, I also provide a what I call first look at where the energy goes next from here at the next lunar update, which will be the full moon in Sagittarius. That's 2 weeks from now. So you can have a full understanding of why this energy is rendering itself the way that it is for divine counterparts. Listen to that. Come back to this now. Loving this energy. I'm loving this Taurus season vibes. There's a new season of fertility on deck for both counterparts. It's a time of watering seeds planted in the first 4 months of this year. The flavor of that season was dreaming, it was planting, it was calling it in, it was manifesting. And we have started as we opened May, so it wasn't a hard stop, hard start. There's overlap here. That season continues until the end of May, but at the beginning of May, right on top of that season, we've also opened a season of grounding and fertilization. And there's tons of auspicious energy for continuing to make change and generate new patterns in thought and communication and interaction and connection. The fertility energy is brought to us by here's our new moon in Taurus and the abundance of planets kicking it in Taurus right now. There's a lot. Taurus does represent our fertility energy, and I go over all the things Taurus represents in that Lightworker energy update. So I'm going to kind of skip over that here. But there's a real opportunity for us to up level in major ways at this time in other words, to completely turn around what's between you and your love life, you and your loved ones, you and the experience of something that you really desire. Taurus represents desires here on earth. And so we can utilize this energy to experience something in love, in connection, that's a more direct conduit of the love that we've experienced with counterparts in our life up until now. And we can utilize that to really shift the way our 3D world is rendering, which is exciting. This is a real season for figuring out what's next. What's the next step in love? What's the next step in work? What's the next step in connection? What's the next step in money? What's the next step in all of it? So for Juno, the divine feminine's movements at this time, we get that she's hanging out in Gemini, which is a sign that deals with curiosity, conversations, efforts, and trying things out, trying new things, assessing things, and then deciding anew, trying again. There's a real focus on exploration. She's having a conversation that is sextile to Pallas, and here is Pallas, which focuses on our divine protection. She's sextile to Lilith. Can't really see Lilith there. She's kind of buried under the part of fortune in this particular chart, but she's there nonetheless. She's trine to the shaman's asteroid, which speaks about going on a long journey and bringing wisdom back for our tribe. Lilith speaks specifically about doing things our own way. And she's also trine Cheriklo, which speaks to the power of divine intercession being on our side right now and bringing to us things that we may have felt like we lost, bringing them back in new ways that allows us a second chance with those things, or allow those things to come forward in a new way that's better than how we had it when we lost it. She's also squaring Saturn at this time, and that brings in a aspect of tension that facilitates motivation to really do a new thing. There's really a lot of blessing in this moment in the divine feminine energetic fields, through the mind, through consciousness, and through communication. There's a real calling in the divine energetic fields to make what the energy that the divine feminine energy has experienced, to make it count, for it to have meaning, for it to have purpose, to ascribe some sort of value to what divine feminine energy has been through. And this almost reads like an up level in mission, or an up level in assignment and responsibility. And this period is really kind of the beginning of a training ground for that up level, the beginning of an up leveled season, both in the connection and outside the connection, in our connection with the world. So I like to see that because it gives us an opportunity to kind of utilize the mental plane. You see, there's a lot of air, there's a lot of fire going on for the divine feminine. She's in air sign Gemini, Shaman's asteroids out here in air sign Libra, Characlos in air sign Aquarius. And then we have Lilith and Pallas in fire sign Leo. There's so much sovereignty in leadership here. There's so much pull toward advancing oneself to a position of being able to reach back and then pull the people who are looking across the same bridge that you've crossed, pull them back behind you. It's a lovely kind of like Sankofa kind of energy, where you kind of look to the past in order to make sense of, make meaning of, and build the future, to bring forward the elements of wisdom in the past and bring that into the future. And that concept, the Sankofa concept, I believe it's a West African concept. You can Google that. Don't quote me. I remember learning about it in high school, but it gives us the opportunity to stand on the shoulders of past us into creating new us, and allowing who we used to be to lift us up into whom we're becoming. So I really like to see that in the divine feminine energy fields. And this Saturn energy, where Juno represents commitment, Saturn does too. It brings out Saturn's commitment focused ethic. Because Saturn represents many things, but when two energies are in conversation and they have an overlapping piece of energy in common, it's that overlapping energy that's brought forward and pushed to the forefront. And so Saturn can speak to commitment. Juno definitely speaks to commitment. And in this squaring energy, there's a real conversation about right sizing our commitments. And this is really kind of a front runner to a larger collective conversation that we'll be having at the full moon in Sagittarius, which I speak about in the Lightworker Energy Updates first look portion. This is really a front runner to where we're all headed collectively, just playing out for the divine feminine energy fields first, where we're looking at how are we spending our time, our money, our energy, and our efforts? And is it really aligned with where it is we say we want to be, right? We say what we really want to do is, I want to start XYZ business, but after work, all we're really doing is like kicking it with our friends, but we're never putting time toward the business. Life is going to put in our face at this time. Do you really want to start the business, or are you just really committed to deepening and solidifying your friendships at this time? You can have whatever you want, but you got to make sure that you're making choices in alignment with what it is you say you want. And so at this time, there's illumination for that in the divine feminine energetic fields, which I like to see, because it's all about, that's how we create fertility. It's where we put our attention, where we put our time, where we put our money. Those are the places that are going to grow. in our lives. Now, in the divine masculine energetic fields, there is Jupiter has made his way out of the sign that he's been in since the beginning of the year. That has been Aries, where he has been stationed since January. He's finally done with a movement through Aries. Normally, well, let me put it this way, just so I don't create confusion. Jupiter's going to kick it in Taurus for the remainder of the year. Let's just put it that way. Okay. And in Taurus, there's a new cycle, there's a new season among us. In Taurus, Jupiter expands and solidifies the action that began in Aries. So Aries is about action. Taurus solidifies that action, it grounds it, creates fertility for it, and makes the action bear fruit in the third dimension, Taurus being an earth sign. So right now, Jupiter is doing this through a crossroads conversation with Mars in Cancer. Here's that. Pluto in Aquarius. There's that. And Haumea in Libra. And there's that. You can see here, this forms what we as astrologers call a grand cross energy. Okay. And because there's a quick dance with the North Node here, just a quick crossing over the North Node, which will happen in the next, I'd say 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. We're able to better tap into our individual divine masculine energies, which is exciting. And this makes for sharp points about what we're focused on behaviorally. That's Mars in Cancer, and emotionally, that's Mars in Cancer. There's also this behavioral piece, which is also Pluto in Aquarius. And what we're motivated to do, that's Mars in Cancer, and make changes in the way our world is rendering and feedbacking our thoughts and emotions. That some of this creation goddess down here with the South Node. Okay. So we've got power endowing our divine masculine energy fields from Pluto. All we have to do to access the power is confront our fears. We've got motivation endowing our divine masculine energy fields from the planet Mars. All we have to do to access the motivation is be willing to really work with where we're emotionally invested truly and be honest with ourselves about that. And we've got creativity endowing our divine masculine energy fields from air sign Libra. And all we need to do to access that creativity is be able to really look around at the partners who can support us and how to do this in a fair, just, and balanced way, given who we are and given who they are. Okay. Now, I really love how for our divine masculine energy fields, we're getting a good glimpse of our own power through this. Now, you may have noticed things coming rapidly into form, rapidly into manifestation at this time. And this is the combination of living in higher level love and Jupiter meeting with the North Node in T square with Pluto and Mars. There's so much power. Oh my goodness. It's amazing to see this really coursing through the fields right now. And there's such a stirring to make, to do, to be more, new, different, better. So this energy can present, I'm going to be honest, a bit like pressure from within. And now we all have very different responses to pressure. Some of us get edgy or nervous. Some of us get still. Some of us, in the face of pressure, like we just get really sleepy, and it creates a lot of fatigue. Some people respond to pressure by getting in action and they have to like do, go, 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 go. Other people react and act out. They just need to create enough chaos to force change, to facilitate a shift. Whatever your response to pressure is, however you arrive at the changes you are being asked to make from within yourself at this time, it's all good. Try not to hold your process against yourself or punish other people for their process, or you can avoid blaming other people and taking it out on others. with a, well, if you would only just do this and be different and present yourself this way and provide this for me, then I could access my change. No, that's not how this works. This pressure is coming from within, and it is demanding that we shift, that we step up, that we change, that we facilitate for ourselves who we want to become without playing the blame game with other people, right? And so there's a real impetus to really kind of like what's happening with this energy is we're getting a bit of like checking ourselves. Life is checking us and we're checking ourselves like, okay, yep, we've stepped into something new here. But if we're really going to be new, if we're really going to do something different, we can't engage in certain behaviors anymore. We can't engage in certain mindsets anymore. It's just not going to work. They're just not aligned. And so there's a bit of a chin check here from the universe around, first of all, trusting and having the faith that we're capable of operating and doing and being more new and different. And then, secondly, not just that we are capable and we trust that, but we trust that life actually has our back around that and that we don't need to make demands of other people in order for us to get there. We can certainly work with them, but we don't necessarily need them to be different so we can be different. All that's needed for us to be different is us. And so that, because there's such an individuality around this, because Mars is knocking on individual, like sign of the sovereign's door, Leo. We've got Pluto here retrograding back into Capricorn from the sign of the collective, but both one's about structure, the other's around leading groups of people. We've got Jupiter here having conversation from two of the most individual signs at the beginning of the zodiac, both Aries and Taurus. I am and I value myself because the conglomeration of energy isn't I change others. The conglomeration of energy, and why don't you listen to me? The conglomeration of energy is I change me. And I make a difference because I'm new and different. Yeah. So it's an exciting energy and there is a lot of power here, but we have to be willing to confront ourselves and that which in ourselves that has been a challenge for us to embrace or a challenge for us to change. And sometimes the biggest change comes through simply embracing rather than fixing. Yeah. So, sit with that. Sit with that. Sometimes we get more change out of loving how we are than trying to change how we are. Loving seeing this, good glimpse of our own power, like I said. And like I said, there is a lot with North Node, Jupiter in combo, Pluto and Mars in combo with this in concert and conversation, creation goddess. There's a lot rapidly coming into form. You may really notice that, like, you had a thought yesterday, you're seeing a confirmation or validation of it in the third dimension today. You had a conversation this morning, you're seeing that thing rapidly manifest today. Thought you dreamt about something today, like today, tomorrow, it's like literally showing up at your front door. It's this kind of energy. It's rapidly moving, rapidly manifesting for those who are actually really aligned. If you're really aligned on something and you're not double-minded right now, things are coming into form very quickly. So it's important to be very clear about what it is you're trying to call in. Okay. We're all experiencing this inner demand to shift what's on the outside in one way or another from the inside. It's an internal pressure to make our outer world line up. And there's that can be tricky, right? And this is why I really drove home the point about recognizing where what's happening externally is a mismatch for what's happening internally. It is not someone else's responsibility. It's actually our own. And to really look at, okay, wait, what in me is causing my reality to render this reflection to me? And what in me is causing me to feel like I need that person to be different in order for me to be okay? Where have I abdicated or given up my own power in the circumstance? And where do I need to take my power back so that I can feel like I'm okay regardless of what other people are doing? Maybe I need to shift myself over here if that's the way they want to behave. Maybe I need to put some boundaries up. Maybe I can make a request. Maybe I don't need to make a request. Maybe this is this person demonstrating to me that we're not a match to be in each other's worlds. Maybe there isn't a negotiation here. Maybe this is a parting of ways. Maybe there is a negotiation here. Whatever it is, having kind of authentic and real conversations now that Mercury is direct about what's working, what's not working, and relationships that you're really locked into are really important for you to be able to do. Okay. For individuals, I'm going to talk about connection now. And if you're feeling like, okay, yeah, I am seeing this in my world, I really want to harness this energy for myself, but you're not quite sure how to do it, you want to change some things in love and relationship, I do go in on love and relationship in the Lightworker energy update because there's some significant placements going on with Venus and with Juno. Talk about that over there because it's not necessarily like twin flame or divine counterpart related. It's very much related to all of our collective energies and what we're all able to tap into. So have a listen to that. But if you're like, okay, yeah, I'm really still in the place where I'm like ready to upgrade my love story, to have a new story in love. Like I said, we're in this place where the dimensions are overlapping. And so you can call in something new before we get fully on into the season of grounding, watering, and fertilizing in June. Still figuring out how to call stuff in. You want to book a reading with me, you can do that. My calendar is open in the month of May and the beginning of June to take advantage of this action taking, manifest it, name it, claim it energy before we fully shift into a new season. Okay. Now, for individuals in divine connection that identify with the concept of being in separation, this lunar this lunation, this lunar energy, this transit is going to challenge you to do something with the love and the connection in your outer world, to really take its offering to the next highest level. The focus is more on agape, universal love in the fields than anything else. You may feel like there's a lot of silence in the separation at this time, or like life is pulling you and your person in some very separate directions. Now that's just for the people who find themselves really identifying with looking at what they have going on with their person and seeing it as separation. Now, for individuals who identify yourself as in some form or format of union, you may find that this energy is offering you and your counterpart opportunities to show up differently with one another, not just in life, but also inside the connection. And it's really, 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 I can't say it enough times, super deeply, amazingly, really important to be noticing the changes and acknowledging them, putting your attention on the changes that either your counterpart is making or that you're making, even if they're small, but to revel in them, soak in them, enjoy any and all progress you and your counterpart are making with one another and in yourselves to shift the dynamic, up level the connection in any way at this time. Okay. You may also find there's a bit of a refresh or a turning over of a new leaf in the connection, a bit of a mutual agreement to leave the past in the past, start afresh, start in the new energy 2023 is providing. So, whether this is a new thing with a new person, or a deepening in an existing connection, take full advantage of the newness. I've been talking about this since January. There's so much new vibrational frequencies hitting planet Earth right now. Take advantage of this. by laying down attachments to who a person used to be, how they used to show up, the things that they've done in the past. Make agreement with yourself that you're going to see them through the new energy, the new chapter, and their new actions so that you can really begin to own the new chapter, the new season. I speak in the Lightworker Energy Update about how to kind of make the shift out of the old and into the new, especially if you're stuck. And gratitude is one way to do that. I kind of walk through how that works there. There was a separation season in 2022 that primed us for this as the divine feminine energy fields did a very large purge. And there were other separation pockets 2018, 2019, 2017, 2020, 2021. We had the divine counterparts meeting up at the beginning of this year. The last time they met up was 2015. There were separation pockets throughout in between in this 7-year window, and there were coming together pockets in this window. So if you had a period of separation and now you are starting to identify more and more and more of this union energy that is cascading through the divine counterpart collective fields, and you're starting to see it really take hold in your own connection. After pockets of separation, know that the separation has really helped you to be able to see your person as new at this point. With that time, with that distance, with that just not knowing and not being connected and not being attached, the reintroduction of connection at this point is allowing you to get basically reintroduced to one another as new people and get to know each other from a cleaner kind of slate. Now, if you didn't go through pockets of separation, if there's just been, tight connection with lots of back and forth, lots of in and out, you saw the best of them and the worst of them. They saw the best of you and the worst of you. And now, again, that union energy that was at peak as we hit the top of this year, but certainly felt from last year and into this year. If you're in a place where y'all stayed closely connected through all of those ups and downs, only to find yourself now struggling as the union energy of this year takes hold, because it's like, but you could still be the same person, but I still don't see you quite different, but you're still, I'm remembering the you of yesterday like it's today. If that's where you're at and you're like, but you could still do the same thing you did yesterday and you get hurt again. If you're struggling in that particular way, you're going to have to anchor and materialize and call in with intention and focus, forgiveness and compassion, and choose to actively and intentionally turn your brain toward your best memories with one another. Choose to literally forget, erase, cancel, delete the vibration of old pain and heartbreak with one another. If it's been coming up like a defense mechanism between the two of you and preventing you from really holding on to the newness that's starting to sprout between the two of you, because there is a lot of newness in the divine counterpart energetic fields. But one of the things that I have really been witnessing in session is people using pain like a shield to prevent themselves from allowing themselves to fully connect in the new energy with their person. Well, you never know. They were like this before and they got this history and they always do that. The more you really hold on to people's past and use it as a shield from getting close to them in the present, the more the past tends to repeat itself with people. So you can do that. You have free will as a divine creator being incarnate. you are absolutely given permission to operate your lessons in this way and learn what kind of crop that brings in. But if you're kicking it on this channel, you're this deep into this particular recording, my suspicion is that's not what you really want at your heart. And so, in order to see them new and step into this higher level union energy, you're going to have to really lean into you being new and letting them be new, and thus the connection being renewed. And again, the key factor here is choice. You're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose that they can be different, that they can change, and that you can too. And that maybe you'll fumble, but it won't be like what it was before unless you force it into that by holding on to the past. And after you've made your choice, then you're going to have to fertilize that choice with your attention and with action. And you're going to have to work to remember and hold it front and center in your brain that acceptance, approval, and appreciation has always created more connection than criticism, correction, and coaching in our personal connections. And so this is going to need to be a choice for us to release critique and correction when you look at yourself, when you look at your person, in this Taurus stellium energy. Because of all the signs, Taurus can, yeah, they can be really attached to the way things were and what feels good about what was. But that's the trick. Taurus demands feeling good. And so, even if it was a small thing that happened between you and your person that felt good, hold on to it, relish it, switch your thoughts and attention to that, and really take a look at how you and them and the current unfoldments are actually perfect and enough and exactly what you need. And you're going to have to challenge yourself to see the perfection in the current unfoldments if you've lived in the pain story or the identity of separation up until now. But you would rather move into union energy timelines because those are definitely open to walk right onto. There's absolutely nothing preventing those for you guys at this time, for any of us at this time. So if you want to walk right onto that, you absolutely can, but you're going to have to let go of the hand of pain. You're going to have to let go of the shield of the past and the what if it happens again and what if they are who they used to be. You're going to really have to look at, you know what, this is actually unfolded perfectly. And where I'm at and where they're at, it's actually perfect. Like God's really had our back. The divine has had our back. Love has had our back in this. And it's all unfolded in a way that has really been fruitful for my heart in the ways that I have become and I have grown and I have given and I have transformed and I have changed. It's unfolded perfectly for me and for them too. In closing, I want to say that I suspect more of you who are listening are experiencing some format of this union energy than you're letting yourselves identify with. Because I'm hearing it in my sessions with clients as you guys come through in my calendar. And maybe you're not identifying with the union energy because it doesn't fit the picture perfect version of you two married under the same roof. Or you're not identifying with it because you live in different countries at the moment. Or maybe you're not identifying with union energy because one or both of you are still splitting attention, time, money, and home with someone else and have a promised commitment to someone else that's still binding you to someone else, i.e., you're still married. Or maybe you're not identifying with it because you're still wrestling with closure on old patterns of pain from your childhood or from their or your own behaviors in the past that are presently mirroring themselves to you via the Mercury retrograde process that revealed to all of us, hey, this is where you got to work in order for things to shift. This right here, this is what's stopping you from going further in union. Shift this. That stuff would have come up during the last 3 weeks of the Mercury retrograde. And so if you're really resonating with the part that I just spoke about around for people who are identifying in union energy, but you're like, but wait, am I in union energy? I don't know. I thought I was in separation. If you're resonating with that, or you want to resonate with that, in all cases, my challenge to you is to begin to see the union energy and claim it for yourself in your connection instead of identifying with separation. And then move, take action expeditiously in the direction of having more from your side in the union energy. Take action on whatever you need to do to live in union energy more. Do it. Do it now. Do not wait. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just get on it today, and you will find that as you're doing this, the thing that seemed like a small thing that was a shift or a change or a new thing between you and your counterpart will then become a much bigger thing. It will start to snowball. All right. If you need some help working this through and figuring this out for yourself and working through your mirror and your challenge, the thing that the Mercury retrograde revealed to you, and making some new choices so you can anchor union energy for yourself, book a reading. The time is available in my calendar. It's a great time to do it because we're moving into the season of fertilization, and this choice energy is very real. I talk about it in the Lightworker Energy Update that you just cannot occupy the heavens and the ocean at the exact same time, not from human form. You're going to have to pick. Are you in separation or are you in some format of union? It's my great pleasure to do this with you guys every lunation. You can find me over at kmoonastro.com. Take great care, and bye for now.